You've been loyal, honest, present, and yet they vanished. Or worse, they stayed, but only to hurt you more. They seemed so caring at first. They mirrored your every thought, shared your deepest wounds, made you feel seen in a way you never had before. You thought you found a soulmate, but slowly, something shifted. And now, you're left asking, was it me? Did I push them away? Or was it something darker? Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." In today's video, we're diving into 7 toxic behaviors that don't just hurt. They reveal someone's true psychological intentions, and more importantly, why you keep attracting them. First, love bombing, disguised as empathy. They come into your life like a tidal wave of affection. Constant messages, over-the-top compliments. They seem to get you instantly. But here's the truth. This is not love, it's a performance. In psychology, this is called love bombing, a manipulative tactic often used by narcissists to overwhelm your nervous system, create emotional dependency, and bypass your rational mind. They don't love you. They love the idea of controlling you. Jung would say this is the persona, a mask worn to gain acceptance. But underneath is a fragmented self that cannot face its own emptiness, so it tries to fill it with you. Second, subtle manipulation and boundary testing. They test your limits, little jokes that feel like jabs, disguised advice that undermines your confidence. One day, they admire your independence. The next, they call you too cold. This isn't inconsistency. It's psychological warfare, a slow erosion of your self-trust. What they're really doing is probing. Can I cross this line? Will they still stay? Each time you let it slide, they gather data, until one day you realize your boundaries were never respected, just negotiated down. This is when you must remember, self-respect is not selfish, it's survival. Third, weaponizing vulnerability. They encouraged you to open up, to be raw, to share your wounds, and when you did, you felt relief. Finally, someone who sees you. But later, your pain is used against you. They reference your traumas during fights. They bring up your insecurities when you resist. They turn your honesty into ammunition. Jung taught that the shadow holds everything we reject in ourselves. But these people don't confront their own shadow. They project it. So when you expose your darkness, they don't meet it with empathy. They exploit it. Because power to them is more valuable than connection. Fourth, mirroring to manipulate. At first, they seem like a perfect match. Same tastes, same goals, same emotional wavelength. But over time, their identity feels empty. That's because it was yours all along. This is called mirroring, a manipulation tactic where someone copies your traits to gain your trust quickly. But it's not authenticity. It's imitation. They don't know who they are, so they become who you need temporarily, until they no longer need you. Jung believed individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires separating yourself from the collective mask. But these people never started that journey. Instead, they survive by becoming your reflection. Fifth, guilt tripping disguised as emotion. You tell them how their actions hurt you, and suddenly they're the victim. They cry, they shut down. They say things like, "I guess I just ruin everything," or "everyone leaves me eventually." You walk away thinking you're the one who went too far. This is not emotional honesty. It's emotional blackmail. They've learned that guilt is a currency, and if they cry louder than your truth, you'll shrink. Apologize. Stay. But the cost is this. Your truth dies a little each time. Sixth, chronic ambiguity and mixed signals. They say they love you, but they disappear. They plan a future, but won't commit. They're hot one moment, cold the next. This is not confusion. It's control through ambiguity. When someone never gives you clarity, they force you into a constant state of psychological negotiation. You're always analyzing, wondering, hoping, and in that space of uncertainty, you become easier to control. Jung called this liminal space the threshold between transformation and collapse. But if someone keeps you there too long, you don't evolve, you dissolve. Seventh, disappearing. When you need them most. Notice this. When you're strong and happy, they're near. But when you're in pain, they vanish. Why? Because your suffering requires presence. And presence requires depth. But they were never built for that. They don't want the full spectrum of you. Only the parts that make them feel powerful, adored, or needed. Your breakdown threatens their illusion of control, so they leave. Not because you're too much, but because they were never enough to begin with. If you recognize these patterns, it's not because you're broken. It's because something within you is stirring, a whisper from your soul, asking you to finally wake up. You see, Carl Jung didn't believe we meet people by accident. He believed that every person we attract, especially the ones who hurt us the most, are reflections of our unconscious. They show us what we haven't healed, what we tolerate, what we still believe we deserve. So no, these toxic behaviors aren't just cruelty. They're mirrors, pointing to the parts of you still seeking validation, still afraid to be alone, still waiting for someone else to tell you you're enough. But here's the truth. Most never say out loud. Healing isn't graceful. It's not candles and calm music. It's brutal honesty. It's grieving the version of you who settled for crumbs. It's realizing that love without respect isn't love. It's addiction. To be free, you must say no more. No more shrinking. No more excusing red flags as just a bad day. No more rewriting your reality just to feel safe in someone else's chaos. The path forward? It's through the shadow, yours and theirs. When you stop running from the parts of yourself you've disowned, you stop being magnetized to those who exploit them. And yes, the loneliness will come. There will be nights where silence feels heavier than pain. But stay with it, because on the other side of that silence is something far more powerful than love from another. It's wholeness. And when you become whole, you stop asking, why did they hurt me? And instead you ask, what part of me thought this was the best I could get? That shift? That's not shame. That's not blame. That is power. If this video stirred something inside you, not just a thought, but a recognition, a quiet yes that you haven't said out loud, then this space is for you. We explore the depths most avoid, the truths hidden in shadow, the philosophies they never taught you in school, because empowered people are harder to control. So if you're ready to see clearly, to break cycles, to reclaim your boundaries, your identity, your soul, subscribe, because healing isn't a destination. It's a remembering, and you don't have to walk that path alone. And remember, it is not your job to fix people who benefit from keeping you small, silent, or broken. It is your job to rise, even if you have to do it shaking, even if you have to do it alone. Rise anyway, because your freedom was never up for negotiation.